Since 1950, the FBI has maintained a most wanted list for some of the world's most notorious criminals. Today, we're going to be taking a look at that list as we meet the felons who are senior citizens, a roving drifter whose escape was aided by deportation, and a man whose vengeance drove him to take on an entire drug cartel. Hold on tight, subscribe to the channel, and let's take a look at the 10 most wanted people in the world. Number 10. Eugene Palmer. 81-year-old Eugene Palmer was the 523rd person to ever appear on the FBI's notorious most wanted list, and the oldest person on the list. On the morning of September 24, 2012, Eugene's daughter-in-law, Tammy Palmer, dropped her children off at school. As she was walking home, she passed a wooded area. Eugene took aim from the trees and fired his shotgun. The blast tore through Tammy's arm and chest, killing her in minutes as she lay in the streets wounded. As it turns out, Tammy and Eugene's son were having marital problems, and Eugene was enraged when he learned that she was considering a restraining order, divorce, and legal action against the Palmer family. When he committed the crime, he was 72 years old, and his family believes that due to poor health and the nearly 10 years that have passed, there is little to no chance of him being alive. If you think this guy's a monster, just wait until you see number 1 entry. A man who committed an unthinkable crime and has been on the run for over 2 decades. Number 9. Alexis Flores. The 487th fugitive, the finest spot on the FBI's most wanted list. After surviving Hurricane Mitch in 1998, Alexis made his way to Hunting Park, Philadelphia, by the summer of 2000. There, he used the name Carlos and convinced a local restaurant named Jorge Contreras to take sympathy on him and help him with food, shelter, and clothing. Within 5 days of his arrival, however, Alexis had vanished, but he didn't leave without a trace. In the basement of an apartment building where he was staying, officials discovered the body of 5-year-old Ariana de Jesus, who had been sexually assaulted, strangled, and wrapped in a trash bag. After evidence at the scene, including a bloody t-shirt, was confirmed to belong to Alexis, and a massive manhunt began. Unfortunately, he was only known as Carlos at this point, so the FBI had little to go on. In 2005, Alexis was convicted of identity fraud in Arizona and sentenced to 60 days in jail, and then deported to Honduras. Just 1 year later, Arizona was added to the National DNA Database, and a match finally confirmed that Carlos and Alexis were the same person. Unfortunately, his getaway was aided by a well-intended justice system, and he's now somewhere in Honduras and still at large. Before we go on, like this video, pop the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell right now, or the ghost in your closet will manifest itself tonight. Number 8. Jason Derek Brown. December 8th of 2007, Jasig Darren Brown became the 489th fugitive added to the list. 3 years earlier, in Phoenix, Arizona, on November 29, 2004, Jason ambushed a 24-year-old armored car guard, shooting him a horrifying 5 times in the head. Jason made off with $56,000 worth of cash on a bicycle before switching to a BMW, and later an Escalade from a storage facility he rented in Las Vegas. From there, he moved on to Orange County, California, where family members helped him maintain his cover. Following this, the FBI would be aware of his location 2 more times when his credit card was used in San Diego, then Portland, Oregon. This is the last known sign of Jason. Today, authorities think he could be hiding in plain sight, using an alias and becoming a member of a close-knit Mormon community. Number 7. Bhadreshkumar and CHETANBHAI Patel. Bhadreshkumar and his wife Palak worked together at a Dunkin' Donuts in Hanover, Maryland, and were working on the overnight shift on April 12, 2015, when Bhadreshkumar overheard Palak talking on the phone to a family member. It seems that Palak had been wanting to return home to India. When Bhadreshkumar overheard her conversation, he became infuriated, and Palak ended her phone call. The two argued for a while, and a good portion of the evening is captured on the store's surveillance cameras. However, around 9:30 p.m., the pair disappear together into a blind spot before Bhadreshkumar emerges alone. He then proceeded to turn off the stove and left the building altogether. Sometime later, Customers began to grow concerned for the absence of the employees at the store. Someone flagged down a passing police officer who investigated, and Palak's body was discovered. The murder made BHADRESHKUMAR the 514th person added to the most wanted list, and he still remains at large today. Number 6. YASER Abdel Saeed. On December 4, 2014, YASER Abdel Saeed became the 504th person to be added to the list following the January 1, 2008 murder of his two daughters, Amina Saeed and Sarah Saeed. The killings, seen as honor killings, were committed after YASER felt that his daughters had dishonored him by refusing to embrace Egyptian culture. That said, the girls were also subject to horrific sexual assault and were frequently beaten. While they had confessed to friends about the abuse and had even said that they feared for their lives, nothing was ever formally reported. On January 1, 2008, he picked the girls up under the guise of a lunch outing. After they were inside the vehicle, YASER shot both of them to death and abandoned the car. He then spent 12 years evading the law before being apprehended on August 26, 2020. However, his spot has yet to be filled, and nearly 8 months after his arrest, he still appears on the FBI website. Number 5. Alejandro Rosales Castillo. On August 9, 2016, 17-year-old Alejandro Castillo contacted his ex-girlfriend, Jaquan Laili, or Sandy, and told her that he wanted to repay her money that he still owed her. Sandy agreed to meet Alejandro at a Quick Trip convenience store in Charlotte, North Carolina. When she arrived, however, Alejandro held her at gunpoint and demanded that she withdraw all of her money from the bank to give to him. She withdrew all of her money from the bank to give to him. She withdrew $1,000 before Alejandro drove her to a wooded area in Cabarrus County, where he executed her with a single shot to the head. He dumped her body in a nearby ravine and fled in her vehicle. Alejandro was on the run with his new girlfriend for about 3 months before she gave up and turned herself in. Alejandro, however, is still at large and was the 516th person added to the list. Number 4. RAFAEL CARO QUINTERO. On April 12, 2018, RAFAEL CARO QUINTERO became the 518th person to ever appear on the most wanted list. Unlike many other entries on today's list, RAFAEL committed his crimes over decades. In fact, he is one of the most notorious drug traffickers to ever live, earning the title Narco of Narcos. On April 4, 1985, he was arrested and extradited to Mexico on a seemingly endless list of trafficking charges, in addition to the kidnapping, torture, and murder of DEA agents 3 months prior to his arrest. If tried in the United States, he would face around 199 years in prison. However, Mexico was home to a law which stated no one could be sentenced to more than 40. RAFAEL received the maximum 40-year sentence, but was released in 2013 after 28 years when state judge and magistrate Rosalia Isabel Moreno Ruiz declared the trial flawed and ordered his release. Irate, the United States vowed to pursue him, and he remains on the most wanted list. Number 3. ARNOLDO JIMENEZ. On May 11, 2012, ARNOLDO JIMENEZ and Estrella Carr tied the knot at City Hall in Chicago. The couple had dinner with Daly and friends before heading off for a night on the town. After partying at a club, the couple headed home around 4 a.m. On the way, an argument broke out, and Arnoldo stabbed Estrella multiple times before driving home, dragging her body upstairs and leaving her body in the bathtub. He then left his vehicle with his brother and went on the run. In September of the same year, police searched his brother's property and discovered the blood-soaked car. Investigators started tracking Arnoldo, seeing cell phone activity in Chicago, Memphis, Arkansas, Houston, and then finally in Hidalgo, Mexico. That was the last time they had a solid idea of his whereabouts, and on May 8, 2019, he officially became the 522nd person added to the list. Number 2. Jose Rudolfo Villarreal Hernandez. The 524th person to find themselves on the FBI's most wanted list, Jose Rudolfo Villarreal Hernandez got there after seeking revenge for his father's death. Jose lost his father when he was murdered by members of the Gulf Cartel, a Mexican drug trafficking syndicate. Jose held a man named Juan Jesus Guerrero personally responsible and hired 2 men to kill him. The men tracked Juan and assassinated him as he was getting into his vehicle. To this day, the two hitmen and Jose remain one step ahead of the law, as a $1 million bounty sits over their heads. Number 1. Robert William Fisher. Added to the list on June 29, 2002, Robert William Fisher represents the 475th person to ever appear on the list, and with good reason. Robert is wanted for the murder of his wife and 2 children. The family lived a seemingly peaceful life in Scottsville, Arizona. Unfortunately, by April of 2001, the marriage had grown troubled following Robert's affair with a sex worker, and his wife concerns about his temper. The pair were in counseling, but his wife was still talking about divorce. A devout Baptist and a child of divorce, Robert had seemingly rationalized to himself that his children would never see the same fate. On April 10, 2001, he killed his wife and 2 kids before rigging a natural gas line to explode. Fortunately, the inferno didn't destroy all the evidence, and investigators were able to piece together the murders. Unfortunately, the one thing that is still missing is Robert, who has successfully evaded law enforcement for nearly 20 years. That's all for 10 most wanted people in the world. Which case was the most troubling to you? Have you heard of these cases before? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to Trend Joint for more incredible videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.